Here with Nicholas County coach Gene Morris. Gene, you get to wrap up your 3-week window today. How did you guys deal with the virus as it was going through after school closed down?
Well, we just kind of did whatever we could to try to control, and we only can do the things that are in our control, which is the social distancing and make sure everything's sanitized and keep the players separated best we could. And we went through the phase 1 and phase 2, and I thought our student athletes did an excellent job, because it wasn't just football players down here at the stadium with us. It was basketball was here, baseball was here, wrestling. So we all kind of just stayed in our pods and did the best we could, and we didn't really have any problems, so to speak.
Aside from Bluefield, obviously, your program has been one of the most successful of the last decade with 8 playoff appearances. But I know you and I have talked before about this. It'll be a little bit different team. Not that it won't be a playoff team, but you're going to be a little younger than you've been maybe in the past.
Well, yeah, it was several years ago. We had a lot of sophomores and juniors kind of make a large amount of our varsity roster, and we're looking at doing that. We have some pretty good juniors and seniors. We just don't have a lot of juniors and seniors, so we're going to be using some of the underclassmen to fit those roles. And we've had some surprises come out, and we've had some good student athletes show up that have played in the past, but maybe didn't play their freshman or sophomore year. So they're doing pretty well. We're just trying to build chemistry and find out our own identity at this point.
You lose a lot of big time players, and especially a big one in Colton Groves. How do you go about replacing a guy like that? Was kind of the focal point of your defense.
I quite honestly don't know if you can actually replace a kid like that. I mean, those are some intangible things and some God-given talents that he did a great job with. The thing we're looking at right now is what scheme are we going to run? Can we run the scheme we've run previously, or do we need to adapt to a little bit different of an even front instead of an odd front? And if that has to take place, then so be it. But like I say, we're finding these things out, and this is the great thing. And thank goodness we were able to have this phase 3 here in July and find out some answers to our questions.
Would you say you were a little stronger offensively or defensively over the past few seasons? I know a couple of years ago you had a string of shutouts for a while. You didn't give up a lot of points in those games. Would you say you were stronger on the defensive side, or offense, where you have some really great players, especially at the quarterback position?
Well, that's just it. I'm not real sure that we play good team defense, and those guys really buy into it. And we've had some folks like Colton and Devin and those guys that have played there in linebacker groups with Zach Odell, and you got Andrew Deal out there hanging out on one of the defensive ends, and so those guys have good athleticism and speed, but you can't discount their abilities on offense. And the offensive line really gelled. We had a super offensive line last year, and this group's gonna hopefully they're gonna step up and do the same. So I don't like to pick and choose too much. If I kind of lean on the fact that if you can shut people out and keep the score down, then you got a chance to win every ball game. So we really emphasize defense as much as we do offense, and I think we got a pretty good balance with both.
Now, you've had some really good quarterbacks, strong quarterback play during this past decade. And last year, I think you were probably hurt by the fact your quarterback gets hurt early, and you were trying some different guys in and out. Are you more solidified right now than you were maybe at the middle of last season because you didn't know who the quarterback might be?
Well, right now, Timmy Baker did a good job, and of course he sustained an injury there in week 3 and had to miss. And I thought Luke LaRose did a super job stepping up and filling in for a few games until we got Timmy back. Right now, Jordan McKinney is a senior, and he looks like he's done an excellent job through camp as far as leading our team and running the offense. And I think he'll do a fine job. Now, Bryson Morrison is going to be a sophomore. and you know, he's right now he's the backup, you know, in a quarterback position. So you know, he's learning and doing, and you know, there's always that athletic difference between the senior and the sophomore. So you know, that's the reason that I think that Jordan right now has a little bit of the upper hand, and looks like he's the guy that is going to be the starter. You know, if we played tomorrow night, that's who would be the starter. Would be Jordan McKinney.
On the other hand, the sophomores one letter for having a really good name. I mean, he's got the added T in there.
Yeah, well, you know, I understand that it's close to a family name. I got you.
What are you expecting this year? I mean, with the fact that you're having youth, a lot of youth. You got to practice. The pandemic, in a way, I guess, has been a little helpful because everything's kind of running into one another now. This window would have been last month.
Right.
You would have been off all of July. Then you come back in August. But now you're going to have 2 or 3. You have 3 weeks off and get started again. You think that's going to is that going to be significant in what you want to do because of the youth of your team?
Well, you know, we're going to have, you know, and of course, the SSAC is asked to make sure that the principals are on board for us to have any flex practices. So we're planning on doing a couple of flex practices before the season gets actually kicked off and underway. But you know, sometimes it's good for them to rest, get away, and make sure that they enjoy some part of their summer, because you know, once the pandemic kind of settled down a little bit, we got opened up to where we could come out and work out in June and in July, and that was good. And they've dedicated a lot of their time and efforts to us, and I really do appreciate that. And they've done a good job. So right now, what we're thinking is once we get a couple of flex practices in, we should be okay when the season kicks off. Now, there again, we're just going to have to figure out our team chemistry, and once we do that, I think we'll be okay. I don't know exactly what to expect, but I will tell you this: they've been told, and we go over it a lot about what you can control is your attitude and effort. And so far, their attitudes have been great, and their efforts have been pretty good too.
With so many young guys, are you still learning names?
I've got most of them down because we have to check them in every day when they come in, and we go over a protocol from our Board of Education about, you know, the different things that they want us to ask, and we kind of screen everybody as they come in, and we talk to each one of the individual athletes, and we got a check sheet to make sure that we're trying to keep our environment as safe as possible.
It looks like a pretty good turnout. If you had this many, as you can see, there's quite a few guys out here.
Right. We've been in the you know, either like somewhere between that 38 and 44 range.
Is that typical of your squad?
Yes, at this time of the year, yes, it usually is, and sometimes we'll even venture out into the 50s.
Okay, Gene, I appreciate your time, and good luck this season.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.